I would like that home address when we get off of here. I just want to talk. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Ashley Chantrice, and welcome to Girlfriends with Girlfriends, where every week we are discussing the hit show, the culturally breaking show, Girlfriends, created by Mara Brock Akil, starring all of our favorite Black actresses, a show that we were way too young to be watching when it first debuted, but now we are grown-ass women, and we are here to discuss it. I am here with three of my best friends, my best friend of almost 14, 15 years, half of my life, Khadijah Phillips. Hey, my sister, what's going on?
Hi, how are you guys?
She is giving Jet Black today. She is giving Beyonce waves. She is giving.
I tried.
Girl.
I tried.
Oh, you look absolutely gorgeous.
Well, thank you. You do too.
And next we have Mary with the long, luscious, straight jet black hair.
Yes, I love a new wig. Hey, y'all.
Come on, wig. Yes, we spent like 30 minutes before this talking about wigs. That's what we always do. We get on here, we talk about hair, and then we film the show, which it works for us. So we're going to keep doing it. And then last but certainly not least, my co-host, Prissy Missy. What's going on in Chicago?
Hey, guys. Just cold. Nothing new. So icy.
Hey, speaking of so icy, I know y'all watched the Gucci Mane Young Jeezy VERSUZ battle. I thought we was gonna witness a violent act. I'm happy that it happened because we all grew up in the era of it was either Gucci or Jeezy. Like at every party, every event, like they were just the soundtracks to our very ratchet adolescence. And to see them on that stage, but then I didn't even know the backstory of like why they didn't like each other. So when someone explained it to me, I was like, oh my God, like, is there going to be extra security there? Like, why did they even agree? Well, the money was why they agreed to do it. But I don't know, like Khadijah, you and I had some very interesting nights with Gucci and Jeezy playing in the background. Mary and Priscilla, we have to. But, how did you feel? Who do you think won, first of all?
Jeezy won. Jeezy won, obviously. Jeezy won. And I'm just not going to argue with anybody. He won, but I'm a diehard Jeezy fan. Gucci was fly. He was he looked very good. But in my opinion, it was Jeezy. But I think I saw a tweet and it was like Jeezy won, but Gucci won something. It was like, I don't know what he won, but he won something. And he did, because like his energy was just like, I still don't like you. And I'm gonna stand right here and I'm gonna tell you I don't like you. But I'm a Jeezy fan, so.
You gotta respect the honesty. Gucci came out and was consistent. I did not like his outfit. I feel like he just looked like he was going to brunch in DC somewhere. Like you look like you just pledged Alpha. I feel like he could have done way better. And y'all know I love me some Keisha Kaur. I'm looking at her like, sis, like, go tell your man to change clothes. But I loved his energy because it was very honest. Like once you find out, like y'all know the backstory, like Jeezy low-key tried to have this man killed. Like, you're not gonna be my friend. Point blank and the period. But the hip hop, the music aspect of it, I think was like amazing just to hear and witness. Like I heard a couple songs that I haven't heard in a while. But Mary, I thought you was 1017 Brick Squad. Like what's going on? What's really good?
What's up, my sis? What's that? Where the niggas at?
I am, but I'm a music head first. And when it came to the playlist Gucci had, I don't know who helped him put that playlist together. Like he played like some of the songs that we loved, but he left out a lot of his classic songs. So for me, in terms of winning, like you need to come with the best playlist. Jeezy has hits, like Jeezy could have played his Recession album, period, and like came out on top. But it like Gucci came to see Jeezy face to face. He didn't come for a music battle. Jeezy came for the music battle, so he won when it came to like the track list. But I think to Khadijah's point, like Gucci won something. Like, what was that tweet that like Gucci was the electoral vote, and then Jeezy was the popular vote, or like either way around. No, I think it was Gucci was the popular vote, and then Jeezy was the electoral vote. But when it came to the music, Jeezy's playlist like was just back to back to back. But what can you say? Gucci did not come to play his music. He came to tell Jeezy, I don't like you, and I'm not gonna like you.
Right. I was that moment where it got kind of tense. I was like, oh my God. Oh, what is about to happen? Like, is he about to hop over the thing? Like, it was just very intense for me. But I love obviously Black Twitter was in flames. Like, the jokes were hilarious. I sent a few tweets myself. Follow me on Twitter, Chantrice B. I'm pretty hilarious on there, they'll tell you. But no, I thought it was so fun. It was very nostalgic. You know, it took me right back to that Kappa party in the basement at SIU, you know, down there juking what I don't have. But yeah, so I fully enjoyed it, and I'm glad I got to share it with you ladies as well. With all that being said, that was a lovely introduction. But the episode we are discussing is the first Thanksgiving episode. Now, I love that Girlfriends always was good for a theme. Thanksgiving, Christmas, like every event was just always really played up. Joan is a very big like holiday person, and she hosts all the holidays like at her house, and she cooks and she does cool table settings. But this episode, like all of her friends like went to spend time with their families. So she ended up being alone on Thanksgiving, where, you know, she goes to Davis's restaurant and that whole flirtation thing gets established. But I'm really wondering, why did we not see more of Joan's like family on the show? Like her mom and dad kind of popped in and out, but why do you guys think that is? Priscilla, I'll start with you, because we never really saw like anything about Joan's family dynamic.
My perspective, we know that Joan likes to, you know, keep this like perfect persona, right? And so thinking about it, if we're thinking about it in real life, someone like that maybe had not the most perfect childhood, or they had maybe like some traumatic events that happened in their life. And so with her creating this perfect persona, she's able to create this life that she's essentially always wanted. And maybe she didn't get the love, or she didn't get something from her parents. And so for her, it's just a way for her to just kind of like not have to talk about it. And it helps it takes away from that perfect persona that maybe we see of Joan. And she doesn't have to like try to fix that situation, right? If she doesn't have to talk about it. So from my perspective, I would say probably something happened in her childhood or in her life, and she just wants to forget about it, and just not have to deal with it essentially.
So now what do we do?
Makes sense. I could definitely see that, because we learn in later episodes, right, that, you know, Joan's parents got divorced and it really affected her for a really long time. So yeah, that absolutely makes sense. I also noticed that this is the episode where we really learn how much of a people pleaser Joan is. Remember when people kept coming and she kept having to like, okay, I'll do this for you. Oh, I'll do this for you. And she like, every time someone came, she like wanted to make them comfortable. So Khadijah, what did you think about like how Joan was just trying to be there for like every single person who was fully imposing upon her? By the way, she was damn near about to break her 3-month rule until people started coming in her house. Khadijah, what do you think about it?
I think like, cause I'm that way, so I get it. I was actually kind of taken aback when she kind of was towards the end, like, no, leave. Like, she didn't really want them there. I'm like, no, Joan, that's your friendship, bro. They have to come to you. They're having problems. You have to fix it. But at the same time, like, she did need her time, and he was fine. So, like, she wanted to be alone. But she, even from the frying the turkey, she has no idea how to do. But as soon as he said, I love fried, she's like, I fry turkeys all the time. I'm always frying the turkey. Like, no, Joan, you don't. But she was going to learn. She was going to figure out how to fry that turkey for that man. When Maya came in having a very real problem with her mother-in-law, she's like, well, no, I rewatched it this morning. She didn't have anything for Maya, really. She was like, okay, well, we're having Thanksgiving. You need to go back home. We can talk about it tomorrow. Maya's like, no. You're not going to send me down the road on a holiday alone. You're going to talk to me about this. So I think they kind of don't give her the option to not people please. Like, it's just, hey, you have to. They don't listen to her. When she did try to assert herself, they're like, no.
They do walk all over Joan. I've noticed that. And when she does try to set boundaries, they be so offended and they turn it around on her, and then she second guesses herself. So yeah, like they definitely, especially when like the episode comes later on where they hold her accountable for enabling Lynn. And I'm just like, she does the same thing for all of y'all. Like, Tony, you was borrowing money from her. You always at her house eating up her food. Like, Maya, you don't even work for Joan. Like, y'all are friends and you file some of her briefs whenever you feel like it. So, like, they all definitely take advantage of Joan because they know how she is, and they know that she is that friend that will drop everything and come see about you. Mary, what did you think about her trying to throw it at Mr. Preston Hall? Shout out to Dwayne Martin, by the way. He looks very good in this episode.
He did look really good. I think it was just typical Joan because he's a lawyer. He's a high profile lawyer. She's a lawyer. She already, I feel like, had wedding bells like in her head. Like, even though she wasn't being super obvious, I was like, dang, Joan is thirsty. And I felt like if he hadn't been a famous lawyer, and maybe if he had maybe been in another career that maybe she didn't really care about, she wouldn't have been that pressed for him. But she already in her head was like, oh, we're perfect together. Lawyer. Like, he looks good. I look good. Like, let's just, keep this going. And which, like, I can kind of see why that is, because, like, before I figured out, like, what dating really meant, if I met someone and I was like, oh, they have the qualifications, in my head, I was like, oh, okay, like, we gonna be together. So Joan was kind of, jumping ahead, I think. But Davis was really, really blocking so hard. Like, it was almost embarrassing.
Like, why? Like, you are not sleeping with this woman. Like, why are you? And was he with his fiance at that point? Or no, he didn't break up with her. We didn't find out he broke up with her until they met again, like seasons later. But it's just like, first of all, why you not with your girl? Like, you all at Joan's house trying to fry turkey. Like, where is your fiance, sir? Did anybody else think that Davis was like really hilarious? I always thought he was so funny.
I like Davis, and I wish they would have gotten together later on when she runs into him after all the other fiascos, and like she had the option and she didn't. I was like, no, like I thought they would have been really good together because he seemed to really care about Joan. Like, they established a friendship first, and I feel like, but not doing that whole William thing, because we could have left that. But exploring it with Davis would have been so, like, I feel like she could have got her little happily ever after. Like, they would have been so good together. And he was funny. The sarcasm.
I agree. I like too. And I was really surprised that they make a show twist at the end for her to end up with him. We'll talk about that later. I don't really like who she ended up with, but that's for another day.
Yeah, I agree. I think I said that, I don't know, one of our episodes earlier, because I just really loved his energy, and I just feel like he was funny, he was charismatic. I don't know, it was just like a natural vibe that we got from them, and so I really honestly wish we could have explored that more. Like, that would have been, like Khadijah said, the most perfect relationship in my eyes for Joan. Like, I felt like Davis was everything to me. So he was fine too. So, you know. But yeah, I was disappointed. Mara, you got to do a rewrite on that because we would have loved to see that.
I like Davis too. And I also like that he was kind of like quirky and he laughed at Jones, like corny ass jokes. Like sometimes he would be looking at her like this, but you know, most times like he gave it right back to her. So yeah, shout out to the actor that played Davis. We definitely would have liked to see more of you. Can we just for a second praise the green jumpsuit that Joan had on this episode? One of my favorite pieces from this show, like point blank and the period. Shout out to every outfit from Girlfriends on Instagram. They definitely follow our page and show us a lot of love. I talk to them all the time. They love our content. They post a lot of the fashions from Girlfriends, and sometimes they'll do links to like what designers they may be, or you know what the fashion designer was like thinking when they styled the characters at the time. What do you guys think about like the fashions from like the first season? Like, let's start with Khadijah, because I think the first season was really establishing each character's like style. But who was your favorite from season 1 as far as fashion is concerned?
Joan, hands down. I love Joan. I love the hoops. She had hoops on in almost every episode, whether they were not huge, but they were big. Like you could see them there. She gave us jumpsuit after jumpsuit. I loved it. It was sexy, but chic. She didn't show too much, but like you could see like, okay, she's got it. Her hair was perfect. Like I just loved Joan. And then in close second, Tony. I loved Tony was fly. I always loved Tony's hair too. It was always so full, and I like big full hair. Her hair was just full and flowing. When sometimes in the first season, I feel like we overemphasized her quirkiness. Like we could have did the quirkiness, but not so much. She didn't have to look like a homeless person all the time. But, and then I guess Maya was cute too, but Joan, absolute favorite.
Maya, her bangs were killing me. So, like one thing that they got right, I think they did well with the fashions, but like they really did Maya bogus on some of the hairstyles, because I was looking back and I'm like, ooh, thank goodness it progressed. But I also realized, like, even with makeup, sometimes I felt like Maya's makeup wasn't as like on point. But I also realized it's even now, like, you're not getting everybody's shade. So it could have been maybe the makeup artists that were working on like the set at that time. I would say, like, I really would agree with Khadijah. Like, I actually liked all of their styles, because Maya had a very like corporate cutie look. She'll have her like pants with the boots when she's sitting there at the desk not working, waiting for Joan to come out. So I would say later on in the seasons, I really started to like Lynn's style. Like she started to become very like free-flowing, sexy. But the first season, they had Lynn all over the place. So
I agree. I was upset about how they did Maya the first season, because her hair was way too thin. I will say that. The bangs were atrocious. And then they had it like a lighter brown color. And then they would put like blue eyeshadow on her. Like, because in the first episode, she told Tony blue eyeshadow wrong, and then you show up with it. Like, I would have roasted her like, girl, you told me that was a fashion faux pas. Like, get out my face. But yeah, definitely the progression of Maya was something that needed to happen. Let's just say that. And as far as style is concerned, of course, Joan had like she just dressed like a grown ass woman. Like, that's what I love about Joan. Tony, I love how she accentuated like her chest. Like Tony had, like Jill Marie Jones has amazing boobs, and I love how they played that up in like the tops that she would wear, and there would be bright colors and not necessarily low cut, but they would be tight around this area. I do not even remember what Lynn wore the first season. I have no idea. That's how little attention I paid to her. And then, like I said, Maya, it gets better.
So Maya, you know, like to piggyback off what Mary said, as far as like being a dark-skinned woman, like even now, like with the blue eyeshadow, right? They probably didn't even have that many blue options. And so they probably put that one blue option that like didn't work for her skin tone, unfortunately. And so, you know, thank God we've done better over time. But like, I agree with you. Her hair was really thin. The bangs, it's just like, as far as when it comes to makeup and hair, it just didn't work. But like, as far as like her stylist and wardrobe, like I felt like it was really on point. It fit her personality. Lynn, I didn't like. Lynn was, you know, I feel like they were trying to play up like her free spirit, you know, kind of dress her like whatever. And so it just didn't work. It got better over time, but it just like was not the thing. But as far as like my favorite, I would have to say it was Joan, because I feel like she can play that really like that corporate, but also like still dress nice, and it's like super chill, right? Like her jumpsuits, like it's something that I would wear. Like I could go in Joan's closet and just like, you know, pick out my basic outfit, but still like be like super fashion Gucci. Whereas like Toni was all designer, and girl, you don't want to wear designer all the time, but she definitely dressed nice. So that's what I would say.
Also remember reading, maybe it was like a caption that Tracee Ellis Ross had, and she was saying like, you know, growing up having like naturally curly hair, like she didn't always take care of it, and like she would try to straighten it and it would get heat damage, but by the time she got on Girlfriends, it was the healthiest that it had ever been. And I thought that was so dope, because even though Tracee Ellis Ross doesn't have like a super kinky, like tight, coily texture, I thought it was dope to see just a curly haired woman on TV. And that I feel like made and paved the way for like, you know, other forms of representation as far as like Black women in curly hair. But yeah, I love when Joan has like the big curls, like the wash and go type look. Because when she started blowing her hair out in later seasons, she started losing her mind. So curly hair Joan is more tolerable than straight hair Joan. What else did we think about like the hair from season 1? Because Toni was always like fabulous, and I love how back then like she wore like the flips. Did anybody else do those flips, like when you try to curl it like over?
Oh my gosh, I could do a flip in a heartbeat. Like that's the one we were talking earlier about how I can't do hair. I could do a flip. You give me a flat iron, I straighten it, flip it out at the end. You think I was walking and the wind was blowing, honey. Like I could do a flip. So I really like Toni's flips. But Maya's hair, because it bugged me. Last episode, that whole time, which was supposed to be a really like good episode, I'm supposed to be paying attention to like the pregnancy scare. Her hair was so bad that episode, because I feel like the bang stops like here, and it was like so choppy. Like the layers were super choppy in it, and it was paper thin. Like if you glue on her, I feel like a track would have just slipped or something. It bugged me to know, and I'm like, why are we doing Maya like this? Now, when we later on, when her cousin was doing her hair or whatever, it was good. It was fine. But I'm like, no. And then that brown, I don't feel like it accentuated anything for her. It was just kind of like she was all one color, because I feel like the brown was almost the same color as she was. So it was just like one note. I just could not. I don't like how they did my girl.
I don't think I'm gonna say like maybe they didn't have like the right hairstylist, because which makes no sense, because it's a show about Black women. Like we spend half of our lives in the hair salon. Like why would you not make sure that your hair budget is not like a big part of your budget? And I think I saw Gabrielle Union maybe talking about this, saying like it's really hard to, as a Black actress, as a Black woman, to get your main hairstylist like approved to be on set. And that bugs me because it's just like, why is that? Like, you want the person you hired to look amazing on camera. Like, why? I don't understand how that got past anybody. I don't even want to say it was the time period because I ain't never seen nobody wear their hair like that back then. So,
and Kelsey Grammer being the executive producer, which he did pop up on this episode, he's not gonna understand that, which I was excited to see him. Isn't this when because Joan, he gives Joan the idea for therapy, right? So that was an interesting tidbit, but no, because Tony's hair was fine. So like, I don't know what was going on behind the scenes with that. But I'm like, I feel like I don't know how it goes. But if I was an actress, like, either this person is going to do my hair, or you just going to have to call me difficult, and I'm not going to film today. Like, you're not going to have me in front of the camera looking silly. But I know they didn't have that many options, this being like the first show with Black women. Like, so I'm pretty sure she didn't like her hair at the time. But like, what was she going to do or say?
Right. Maya's best hair seasons were probably season 3 was when she was really getting it laid, and it was the right brown, and like the I was looking at season 3 and I'm like, okay, like those were her best hair seasons in my opinion. William also is hilarious in this episode as well. I love the scene where they were frying the turkey. First of all, why did Maya have on like a fireman's jacket? Like, she was doing the absolute most. And then, I just want to say this. My man knows how to fry a turkey, okay? We have fried turkey every year, and that is not how you do it. And yeah, William's like, stop, drop, and roll. Like, he kills me every single, like, I cannot get enough of shout out to Reggie Hayes, man. He is a comedic genius. I love him. But what else do we love about the Thanksgiving episode, Priscilla?
I don't really have much to say on that because it wasn't my favorite episode. Skip.
Okay, well, wait. Let's talk about this then, because I was thinking about this the other day. There are a few episodes of Girlfriends that I skip, like that I cannot watch. Khadijah, what's your episode that you skip? Because we love the show, of course, but it's some episodes that I can't do it.
Hey, bye, sweetie.
This is not one that I normally watch. The Halloween one, really not too much. I want to say I didn't like the episodes the last season with what's his name, that boyfriend. I wasn't a fan of. Yeah, exactly. I wasn't a fan. What's his name, Mary?
Was it the bald head?
The bald head guy.
I think it was Aaron.
Yeah, I skip around in that season. I like try, but I'm like, I miss Tony. Because I'm not gonna lie, when Tony left, I was kind of like, well, I don't know anymore. But just that. I do watch a lot of them, but those ones I'm like, no.
For me, I kind of skip around when the ladies are dating William because it's just so forced to me. Like, it just did not need to happen. Like, Lynn and William, like, those episodes for me are just like, okay. And then Joan and William. So for me, I wish, and I think about this with Moesha too, when I was watching, I'm like, why could we never have shows that would show like Black women and Black men in platonic friendships that never crossed the line? Because I feel like in the shows we used to watch, there was always the instance of like, let's take it over the line. And I wonder if like TV kind of normalizes the whole thought process of how women and men can't be friends. Because, you know, there's some people who actually believe that men and women can't be friends. And I wonder if the thought process is from like the things we watch and things we hear, because every single TV show, you see a healthy male. Like, I thought William and Joan were like a very healthy, woman and man friendship. And then, I mean, they had their friendship back, but I'm like, did we need to introduce those dynamics? Like, I personally didn't think like those dynamics needed to be introduced. But that's for every show. But yeah, those episodes I kind of skip around, especially with Lynn, because I'm like, I don't, Lynn and William, like that don't make sense to me.
I always skip the episode where Lynn's white sister comes to town. I can't do it. Every time, like, I have it on autoplay and I hear it coming on, as soon as I hear Lynn say sister, I skip. I can't do it because I know the scene is coming where she's getting her hair braided and she, raps along to Jay-Z and she says the N-word, and then Lynn has to like teach her about why that's wrong, why we still are teaching white girls not to say the N-word, and why you look stupid in braids is beyond me. And that was 2001. It just makes me very uncomfortable. It's annoying. I don't even know what else happens that episode. I can't tell you what anyone wore because I don't care. So I skipped that episode, and honestly, I think that might be it. I think we all have our episodes of Girlfriends that we skip. If you subscribe to us, comment down below what episode you skipped and why, because I'm interested to know, because I know a lot of people were talking on Twitter about how and why it bothered them so much when, Jill Marie Jones left the show. And I think a lot of us felt like there was something missing. Obviously whatever happened was out of all of our control, but it was just like, come on, like, Tony, like, she got on our nerves, but we still want her there, But yeah, I can't do the whole half foster white sister situation. Like, it just, and then how she was so rude to Joan, like, just like a white colonizer come in a black person's house in space and just completely disrespect them and say, I'm blacker than you. Like, y'all really should have jumped her at that point. But Mary, tell me how you feel about that. Let's have that conversation.
For me, like, I'm glad they had episodes describing like situations like that, because I have had an episode like that. Like, I have mostly worked at companies with like millennials, people my age, so naturally you develop friendships with your coworkers. If they're cool, you may go out for drinks, and so one of my coworkers one time sang along to Cardi B, and like, it was Bodak Yellow. It was like in the time of Bodak Yellow, and there was no pause with the N-word. And I remember feeling, I don't know why I was so shocked, but I remember feeling so shocked and being like, what? Like, what? At least pause. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that made me realize, I'm like, dang, like, that's something I heard, but I'm sure when people are listening to music, they're not pausing, they're singing their little hearts out. Like, I think there was a video of Victoria's Secret models when Bodak Yellow came out, and it had circulated Twitter, and there was no pause. Like, there was not a single pause, so.
Hey, sorry to cut you off. Cardi B said something too. She was like, they show was all saying the N-word. Like, don't say Cardi B don't be coming for these people, because she definitely do. She was like, I all of them said the N-word.
For me, there is no instance where a white person can say the N-word to me. And I know other people have different opinions. Like, I've spoken to a black colleague. This is when I moved to Utah, so take that for what it is. A black colleague in Utah. And he was like, oh, if my white friends are cool, like, I don't mind them saying the N-word. And for me, that disgusts me, because it's like, I'm not saying you have like you have to say something, but that's not acceptable to me. I don't think there's any, I don't care if like, there was like a professor who got in trouble recently because he read it out loud. Like, pause. That is not for y'all to say. Like, there is no instance at any point in time, I don't care if we're in the year 4006, that you can say the N-word.
stance on it. So back in the day, you know, with like so I have obviously friends of different nationalities and stuff, but no one's ever said like the N-word, like, hey Priscilla, you N-word, right? But like when it came to, you know, saying the N-word in songs, I had a different stance. Like my stance used to be that since it's a song, could you really essentially blame people for like not pausing and just saying the word?
Wait a damn minute.
Because these rappers know that people are going to be saying the word, right? And there have been rappers who have supported that stance as well, that, you know, it's just a song at the end of the day. So for me, like, I was totally like, it's totally fine to like say, I know it looks so bad, but I have to be honest, like that was really my stance like back in the day. Like I really was like, it's a song, and at the end of the day, as long as you're not sitting there calling me the N-word, I don't have any problem with that. And I've never been in a situation where my friends have, you know, said that to me. Now, no, definitely not. Like I would definitely have that, like, girl, you said what? Like, hold on, you know, like, I mean, I don't know. Now I can see like there are power in words, and like, yeah, just because it's a song, you know, they're thinking of what that word is completely different, right? So when they're saying that N-word and like they're pissed off, like if someone chooses to use that word against me, you're using that because you want to hurt my feelings, or you know, you think less of me. So, you know, that, yeah, I will be honest,
I agree. And I thank you, Priscilla, for being honest about like, you know, how you used to feel, because, you know, it's something that probably would not have bothered us when we were, you know, younger. But as you get older and you start to, you know, experience more like microaggressions and really understand like what, you know, less subtle racism like is, you'd be like, am I tripping, or is this person just, you know, and I want to say like 2 instances where, you know, it is absolutely possible to pause in a song when you stumble across a word that you know you're not supposed to say, because first of all, you're a human, your lips work, like you can stop talking whenever you want to. Second of all, one of my really good friends, her name is Armine. She is full Armenian, like one of my like closest homegirls out here. Like she's one of the coolest chicks I've ever met. She mostly hangs around like Black people. Like, you know, she has a lot of different friends, but you know, she's just one of those cool ass girls. Like she don't try to be Black or nothing like that. She's just super cool. And her partner is a Black guy. And we ride around all day listening to rap music. The girl knows every word, but I have yet to hear her say, she always pauses. She always pauses. And it's hard to do sometimes when you're listening to Tupac. So the fact that this grown woman is aware enough to do that pause and still keep going, you know. And then also there's this clip of Lil Duval, and remember that song, I'm living my best life? I guess he was performing it at a club and a white guy was on stage with him, and the part where I ain't going back to fuck with you, the white guy was like, and the whole club erupted, and I was like, y'all thought y'all was gonna get him, but he was like, nah, I ain't finna get jumped today. So it is absolutely possible, white people. This is a little PSA that we put together for you. If you don't think you should say it, then don't say it, you know? And if you're tough enough to say it, deal with the consequences. That's all I have to say about that. Khadijah, let's get your input on just, you know, that whole situation and like how you may feel about, you know, white people using the N-word in songs or not.
They should never say it. I don't want to hear you say it. And I feel like if, like Mary said about her coworker in Utah, or colleague in Utah, like you letting your friends say that around you is just setting them up for failure. So like they're going to run into somebody else and then they're going to get beat up, and it's going to be your fault because you should have told your friend, like, just because I'm okay with it, like this needs to come with a disclosure. Like there are just certain things I don't think they should say. Like there was a coworker one time, my daughter, her hair was braided and it was time for it to come down.
Wait a damn minute.
And she wanted to go like play with that coworker's son. And I'm like, no, we got to go home. I got to take your hair down. And the girl says she's white. She's like, it is looking kind of nappy. Right? I'm like, excuse me? I have never told my daughter that her hair was nappy or looks nappy or anything. I don't like that word. I feel like it makes little Black girls uncomfortable with their hair as is. I'm like, I said, we don't say that word. I don't know where you heard that word. I'm like, but we don't, that's not how we speak about our hair.
I know that's right. I know that's right, bitch.
It's messy. It needs to be done, but we don't say it's nappy. Like, so you just have to be like aware of the culture and the people that you're dealing with. Like, you just want to seem cool. Like, oh yeah, she's going to like that. I said, like, no, you almost got beat up in the workplace. Like, don't say that.
If y'all could have seen all of our faces when Khadijah said that, it was I got a wall behind me. I almost went through the wall. I would like that home address when we get off of here. I just want to talk.
Since you got your degree and you know every fucking thing.
Have a girl chat. Okay.
I feel like there are just certain things that should not be said. And it's even more than the N-word. You know what I'm saying? There's just certain things that when you're utilizing them that you should be aware of. But I think to Khadijah's point that some people feel like maybe they need to make you comfortable. And so they need to overdo it. And so I get uncomfortable. Like, I've had previous coworkers say something is so hood and it was just so ghetto. And I hate hearing that. Like, that is the one thing that, like, if I hear will just drive me crazy. So I feel like it's even more than the N-word. There's just certain things that, like, if you don't understand it, don't, like, or the connotations behind what you're saying, like, don't say it around Black people. But I know that but that's the thing. A lot of people are using that in their daily, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Black people set the culture. We set the culture and we set the trends. So when we're saying, like, ratchet, you know, bougie, all this stuff, this is being seen by other nationalities and they're using it amongst themselves. And sometimes I think they don't realize, like, hey, that's actually comes from a place of pain from Black people. So that is for Black people. That's not for you to include between, like, you and your friends. So you saying something is so hood or so ghetto and y'all are not Black, like, that's offensive to me.
You better lay low.
Right. So we just gonna keep you know, letting you know what time it is and what time it's not. And, you know, we'll just leave it there. Shout out to all of my girls for joining me in discussing Girlfriends with Girlfriends, the Thanksgiving episode. Shout out to Jones Green Jumpsuit. Shout out to whoever was doing Maya's hair. Don't ever do that again. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you guys for joining us. Follow us on Instagram, Girlfriends with Girlfriends. Like, comment, and subscribe. And follow us on Instagram. I post a lot of really funny things and memes from the show. So feel free to chime in and offer your feedback. There are a lot of weeks where some of us can't, like, get on here and, you know, our schedules don't align. So if any of you guys out there want to be a guest on Girlfriends with Girlfriends and give your input on the show, send us a DM. We'll be happy to have you. But until then, thanks for joining us. You guys have a lovely week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
Nah, I forgot. PM. ... I'm out this bitch.